What's up everyone, it's Kadi with MoneyVest. So in this video, we are going to be talking about Crowdstrike, ticker symbol CRWD, posting some very strong numbers during their earnings. And despite those strong numbers, they did sell off after the earnings, but then of course today they are pushing higher. So we did see a little bit of a sell-off prior to the earnings, where the stock was down from $360 down to as low as low 300s, basically down 16%. And then after the earnings came out, very strong momentum higher, up almost 12%. Now trading at just over $342. And this right here is the entire run-up for the stock from low 90s, so basically low $100 at the time when we were talking about this stock, to now well over $340, up over 274%. So very strong move. We're going to break down the actual earnings numbers here for this company, and of course take a look at the intrinsic value, and also talk a little bit about the technical analysis as well. As always, if you enjoy it, find it helpful, make sure that you drop a like. I would really appreciate that, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And the link to our Discord and Patreon is going to be down below. This entire process of analyzing companies and stocks is going to be streamlined really well because of our MoneyVest platform. So if you want to get early access to this entire platform, all you have to do is sign up using a 51% discount. And right now we have a special pricing that you can lock in forever, and there's an additional 16% annual discount that you can also take advantage of. So link's going to be down below. We'd love to have you on board. You can pretty much visualize a lot of the company's fundamentals, look at analyst estimates, insider transactions, ratios, as well as calculate your own intrinsic values using our discounted cash flow and discounted earnings multiple models, as well as look at our MoneyVest metrics for individual companies and stocks based on different years, 3, 5, 7, 10, and 20 years as well. So link's going to be down below. We'd love to have you on board. And again, if you have any questions, let me know in the comment section down below. So first things first, let's talk a little bit about the company's numbers. So Crowdstrike at Q1 at a glance, so $3.65 billion in annual recurring revenues, up 33% year over year. And net new annual recurring revenues coming in at $212 million, up 22% on a year-over-year basis. And more importantly, diluted earnings per share coming in at 93 cents per share. So finally turning the corner towards profitability. This company up 63% year over year, and operating margins coming in at 22%. Strong operating leverage and record free cash flow with 35% free cash flow margin, and a rule of 60 as well, with free cash flows sitting at $322 million, up 42% on a year-over-year basis. This right here is their calendar year 2024 total addressable market, the AI native security platform, of $100 billion, and that number is expected to increase to $225 billion by the year 2028. So very strong potential market here that they operate in. Cybersecurity, in my opinion, is second most important sector for the next decade, next to, of course, semiconductors and chips. This right here is customers are embracing the Falcon platform. Deals with 8 or more modules grew almost 100% year over year. 65% customers adopted 5 or more modules. 44% customers adopted 6 or more modules, and 28% customers adopted 7 or more modules for the company. And this is again the first quarter 25, 33% growth in annual recurring revenue. And net new revenues also up 22%, with total revenue increasing to $921 million, 33% growth year over year. And subscription revenue was up to $872 million, up 34% year over year. Free cash flows and profitability. So subscription gross profit, very high gross margins here from Crowdstrike, as we have discussed. Operating income up 72%, free cash flows up 42%, diluted earnings per share up 63%. And this right here are some of the key takeaways. Record subscription gross margins of over 80%, record free cash flows of 35%, delivered significant year-over-year operating leverage, 5th consecutive quarter of GAAP profitability as well. So this again was the last point, very important for the company as well. So if you take a look at the guidance here from the company for the entire fiscal year 2025, they're guiding for a non-GAAP net income per share of $3.93 to just over $4 per share. If you take a look at where Crowdstrike's rating at right now at $3.43, and we divide that by 4, we're looking at 85 times earnings on a 2025 basis, which I'll let you be the judge whether you believe that is high or low. But second quarter fiscal year 25, 98 to 99 cents per share, and overall revenue expected between 3.9 and $4 billion for the company, with average shares outstanding at 251 million shares outstanding as well. These right here are going to be their target margins. So operating margins of between 28 and 32%, free cash flow margins between 34 and 38%, and subscription gross margins between 82 and 85% for the company as well. And this right here are going to be their balance sheet, which is also very, very good. So cash and short-term investments sitting right over here at $3.7 billion for the company. And then if you come down, there's not any other long-term assets here. Other long-term assets, $91 million. And then they've got long-term debt of $742 million, not to mention total liabilities sitting at $4.2 billion. So their cash alone is almost as much as their overall liabilities of $3.7 billion and their total liabilities of $4.2 billion. So like I said, their overall cash and short-term investments are almost enough as much as their total liabilities for the company. So balance sheet is once again pretty solid here for CrowdStrike. So if we assume for earnings per share somewhere between $3.93 and $4 per share. So if you plug that into our spreadsheet here, by the way, this is exactly the type of models that are going to be available on our website. So again, if you want to get access to that, link's going to be down below. So let's just do $4 over here for CrowdStrike. And we're looking at a net income or bottom line actual non-GAAP net income of $973 million. So let's just plug in 975. Let's just grow the company by 20% over the next 5 years. And if you come over to the actual valuation for CrowdStrike, it is trading at very high multiples, right? 85 times earnings, over 26 times sales, and a little bit over 68 times free cash flow. So this is something that we have talked about and I mentioned before in my previous videos, is just because it's a great company doesn't make it a great investment. Great investments are a result of buying them at a great price, okay? Great investments are always a result of getting a good deal, of getting a good discount, of getting the price that we really want and we feel is undervalued relative to where the market price is. So in CrowdStrike's case, it's a great company. Cybersecurity is a growing market. It's a very, very important theme. And I believe that, we need to be invested in cybersecurity. I think there's a lot of potential here over the long term as the demand and the need for cybersecurity is only going to grow as the world becomes more digital. But CrowdStrike is one of those companies that trades at a very expensive valuation. I've done a lot of analysis on the comparison for CrowdStrike and for a lot of other cybersecurity companies. And CrowdStrike at the very top sits at very high growth rates, but at the same time trades at a very high multiple. Another alternative that I really like is Fortinet. Fortinet is also a very profitable company with high margins and consistently growing revenues and earnings, but trades at a far more reasonable valuation at 39 times earnings, a little bit over 8 times sales, and just over 22 times cash flow. Of course, nothing compared to CrowdStrike's growth, however. Now, if you come over to the intrinsic value calculation here, 20% growth, let's assume for 30 times PE multiple, 12% discount rate, 10% margin of safety, no dilution, and even then we'd be looking at $152 to $160 in intrinsic value for the company with a price target of close to $300 per share, and it's already beyond its price target. If we assume for, let's say, a 30% growth and a 40 times PE multiple, then it trades at $304 intrinsic value, which is only 10 to 11% lower than where it's trading at the moment with a price target of almost $600 for CrowdStrike. So this is going to be the sensitivity grid, and again, really depends on where you would place CrowdStrike's PE multiple and the future growth rate. If you feel that the PE multiple should be lower, higher, growth rate should be higher, lower, depending on your analysis, that's going to change the intrinsic value, of course. But for me personally, CrowdStrike's a phenomenal business, just trading at the very, very expensive price here, and of course, incredibly overbought at the moment from a technical perspective as well. There's a little bit of that negative divergence that's also forming with, of course, the price, as you'll notice, making some type of higher highs and the RSI making a very, very massive lower high here. So there is that bearish divergence or that negative divergence also forming. So very strong support at 242. There's going to be one more support sitting right over here at close to $284, $285 for CrowdStrike, all the way down to $242 per share for this company as well. So those right there are going to be a couple support levels to watch for CrowdStrike. As always, if you enjoyed this video and found it helpful, make sure that you drop a like. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Again, fantastic company. If you want access to this MoneyVest metrics and our fundamental analysis, including our company overview, and then of course the analyzer, discounted earnings model, and discounted cash flows, link's going to be down below. We're going to be adding a lot more features and functionality and tools over time. There's limited spots left for a limited time. We're offering just a 51% discount, and this pricing is going to be locked for you forever. So link's going to be down below. We'd love to have you on board. And if you have any questions, feel free to reach out. As always, happy investing. I'll see you all in the next video.